You can call the Orange Bowl a meaningless game because it wasn't a college football playoff game, but it wasn't a meaningless football game. And I think that all of them have meaning, at least a little bit. But we're talking about a New Year's Six bowl game here, a big trophy for the trophy case now for the Georgia Bulldogs. Another Orange Bowl they can throw next to the one they won a couple years ago that happened to be a playoff game. I mean, the circumstances for both Georgia and Florida State where they got snubbed from the college football playoff, right? They were on the outside looking in, and this game felt meaningless because the expectations were greater, the hopes were greater, the belief was greater than just the Orange Bowl. Both these teams wanted to win a national championship, and being on the outside looking in, that's what leads to the disappointment, being that close and having it snatched from you or losing it, right? That's why it stings a little bit extra when you're right there on the outside looking at the college football playoff. But this was a significant bowl game that mattered, and Georgia wanted to make a statement to the country, for themselves, for their teammates. But in the locker room after the game, I got to speak to some of the players, and that's what a few of them said to me was, "Hey, we wanted to make a statement because look, and oh, you know what? Actually, I'll start this now. I want to go on my little rant about the national media in terms of the Georgia Bulldogs. Why was everyone so scared to give their opinion about Georgia until after the fact, right? Think about what happened on December 2nd. Georgia loses the SEC championship, and immediately everyone went and started writing their predictions for what the college football playoff would do. Not who they feel were the four best teams. They wrote, this is what I think is going to happen. Not, here's what should happen. This is what should be the college football playoff. These are the four best teams. And I tell you what, you go through and you look at the opinions of most of the national media people, and they thought Georgia was one of the four best teams in college football. Well, why is everyone just now talking about why is everyone just now admitting that? Because they boat raced Florida State 63-3? I mean, it was my prediction that Georgia was going to beat Florida State regardless of who was playing for the Seminoles. I just think that Georgia was a better team even when both squads were at full strength. But the difference at Georgia is they wanted to make a statement. This game, it could have meant nothing, right? I mean, all of the players could opt it out, and I don't want to beat the drum too much on stuff we already know. But what made the difference at Georgia this year was doing it for their brothers, right? This team, these guys in the locker room had gone through a lot together. When you talk about the 29-game win streak, the back-to-back national championships, and the guys that were there in 2020 and possibly even a little bit before, they've been through a lot with dealing with COVID and dealing with what happened in the 2020 season. And you think about what happened in this off season for Georgia, when you think about multiple deaths, all of the arrests and this and that, all of the things that were not football related, that were negative distraction and just negative things that shouldn't have been happening, right? A lot went on for Georgia over the last few years, and it was the air just got popped right out of the balloon when Georgia lost to Alabama in this SEC championship and got left out of the college football playoff. They pumped it back up, though. The Georgia players kept that balloon filled with air. Kirby Smart kept that filled with air, and they went on and they did exactly what they said they were going to, which was finish the season right. And that was breaking another record. I mean, this was a historical beatdown. And Georgia did what it was exactly what it was going to say it was going to do. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post. I got a little bit deeper into this than I meant to, going on and on there. Make sure you're checking out our newsletter. The link is down below. Also, I want to say this too, if you're listening. Just because I've seen some comments and I saw some stuff on our site, dogpost.com, which you need to be signing up for the newsletter for, with the link down below. We're going to be churning out videos every single day during this off season. We're not going away. So if you want your Georgia football fix, you want your college football fix, just keep watching. Keep checking out the channel every day. We'll have multiple videos a day. We're not going anywhere. There will be riding homes in the car. There will be riding homes over Skype. We'll be producing all of that content for you. So please, don't go away and stick with us over the off season. And look, if there are certain things you want us to talk about over the off season, because obviously, there are some dead periods, right? So if there's certain stuff that you think, hey, I think that would be a great video. I think that this is a video a lot of people would want to see. Obviously, I can't read every single comment, but I try to read comments. And, I will check that out if you do have something to say. Thank you for sticking with me there. I'll talk for a few more minutes about just... I talked to Javon Bullard last night. I just got back to Athens, finally. I'm not a big South Florida guy, all right? Now that I've been down there twice, not a big South Florida guy, not a huge Orange Bowl guy. I know Georgia's had some success at the Orange Bowl. I just don't know if the Orange Bowl is quite my thing, even though it's a cool stadium. These guys... It's special. It's special. It's surprising. The dedication, like I've said over and over, that connection thing is real. They sound like a bunch of cheese balls. They sound like a bunch of cheesy dudes, dorks, whatever. I mean, I'm not kidding. When they're talking about eating off the floor and they're talking about this and that, and Kirby's making up all these things, and the coaches are making up all these things, the players are buying into it and they love it. And Kamari Lassiter, Javon Bullard, those are two great examples. Guys that declared for the NFL draft today, played in this game, and they ate off the floor. They believed in that saying, and they did it. Right? They did it. See it, believe it, achieve it, writing it down. I mean, that's what's been happening at Georgia. And with Kirby Smart at the helm, it is a culture thing. There are a few edges that Kirby Smart has over other coaches, and one of them is having played at Georgia. But it's not just the fact that he's coaching his alma mater. It's because he had an experience there. He had experiences there over those 4 years that these players can relate to and that these players can understand, and he uses that to get them to buy in, right? And he talked about in the post-game press conference last night why the Orange Bowl matters, why these bowl games matter. There are some people that work their whole life and they're not going to get a chance to play for a national championship. Not going to be a Heisman Trophy winner. Not going to do this or that. Not going to play in the postseason. Kirby Smart did not get to do any of that. He was not a national champion, right? So those bowl games mattered to him. Those bowl games meant something to him. And I know that the bowl games are diluted now, but I mean, come on, guys. I do wish there were fewer opt-outs. I understand certain opt-outs. I'm not going to sit here and say that every single player needs to play. I do understand some of them to a certain degree, but the culture at Georgia wouldn't have allowed for that, right? The culture at Georgia wouldn't have allowed for all these opt-outs. So that's why it didn't happen. Kirby literally suggested to some of the players that they should not play in this football game, and they did anyway. That's the difference at Georgia. That's the difference at Georgia. That was the tidbit that he shared with us about Kamari Lassiter. Think about Brock Bowers. Think about Brock Bowers, a guy who didn't play in this Orange Bowl. He got hurt, surgery, tightrope ankle, should have missed the rest of the regular season. That's what he should have missed the rest of the regular season and arguably the SEC championship when you talk about a rehab timeline. He fought his way back to play. A guy that is a future top 10 pick. I have a hard time seeing him go outside of the top 10. I'm very obsessed with the NFL draft, and I feel like I know a thing or two about it. I don't see him falling out of the top 10 to 15. It'd be shocking to me, right? That's what we're talking about with Brock Bowers. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of good things that can come from that in the NFL. A lot of great opportunities in being a pick like that. And he risked his body for Georgia and for himself, obviously. To a certain extent, these decisions are for the players as well. They're making these choices for themselves to come back and play because they want to play. But Bowers did that. He fought back, and I maybe don't agree with the way that they handled his timeline because I think it ended up hurting Georgia in the long run. And I can talk about that. I could do a whole video about that, actually. Sure, if you want. I'll do a whole video about the Brock Bowers injury. But it was a testament of this program. It really was. Cedric Van Pran returning for this season was a testament of this program. And it started at the beginning, really, with Kirby. You knew it was going to be special when he got Jacob Eason to stick around, when he got Nick Chubb and Sony Michel to come back and creating that culture from the jump, really, and getting Georgia to a national championship in his second season. That's what's dealing with Georgia. I saw a YouTube comment on our riding home that said, you guys are just describing everything that Alabama has had since 2008. Yeah, we've said that over and over. This is what Alabama has been. And now it's Georgia too. And I don't think that's going anywhere. Georgia did exactly what it said it was going to do, and that was make a statement to the college football world that, hey, they might have not won the national championship this year, but they're out for blood. They're out for blood. And, hey, look, I keep seeing revenge tour next season. Maybe that's true. Thanks for watching. Links are down below for the newsletter.